A very hot and humid day here in Palm Desert, California. Just drove by a Carmax, and we haven't really spoke too much lately about what's happening in the auto industry. And there was a story that just came out yesterday on Fox Business. Toyota executive says car shortage will last another year and shoppers may reject EV push. The vice president of Toyota said that he believes sales are going to experience a continued supply shortage and that this should ease up by late 2023. That's a ways out, ladies and gentlemen. Toyota sales have dropped 22% in the second quarter due to the tight supplies, but we're not seeing that tight supplies so much now in used autos. Take a look at this. I'm walking by CarMax here this afternoon, and they have a ocean of cars throughout the parking lot here. So while it might be a while before we see new cars pile up in the auto lots, we are now no doubt seeing used cars hitting the market, used car prices coming down, and inventory going up. And I think that this is a telltale sign, another indicator of what's about to come. I was watching a show last night, a good YouTube channel, and it's called Your Advocate Alliance. And they talk a lot about what's happening in the auto market, and they brought up a term called CECL, Current Expected Credit Losses. And we all need to get familiar with this because we're going to see a lot of this. And banks are preparing right now. It's an indicator telling us what's going on, not what happened, but what's about to happen. Financial institutions setting aside money for what they expect to happen. And this is forward looking. It's not looking back at data. It's not looking back at graphs. It is forward looking. They're looking and expecting major defaults and delinquencies, ladies and gentlemen, from credit card losses to mortgage losses to auto losses, you name it. That's what they're getting for. CECL, Current Expected Credit Losses. And this is really an indicator and really a prediction of what's going to happen in the future, especially right here to the auto industry. And these banks made some real horrendous loans and loaned way more money out on these vehicles than what these vehicles were worth. And so now when they take them back, they're putting them out to the auto auctions. They're not selling for the number that they want, and they're trying to be sold time and time again. There are no buyers, and the banks at some point are going to have to eat huge losses as these repos are going to have to be auctioned off at a much lower price, and they're going to flood the market, and this is going to push prices down. Prices are coming down right now as you're beginning to see inventory pile up. But in that video last night, Your Advocate Alliance, they noted a few things I thought it was interesting. Credit acceptance net, their income fell $107.4 million, down 63%. They are one of the largest subprime lenders in the U.S. This number dragged down because they set aside $178 million as a precaution against auto losses. What does that tell you? And how much worse can this get? We know by June there were already 2.2 million auto repos. In 2021, in all of 2021, there was 1.8. In half the year, we passed that by 400,000. If we keep on track with that number, that means that we will see over 4 million auto repos in the U.S. this year in 2022. And these banks and these lenders are going to absolutely eat it. It's really a disturbing number. They go on to talk about the largest auto loan provider, Allied Financial. They made a provision for credit losses, increased those provisions by $336 million year over year to $304 million. Banks across the country are raising CECL levels. Again, home, auto, credit card losses, lots of defaults, lots of delinquencies. And this is going to be very, very hard to cover up. But I think, as they were speaking about in the video last night, that a lot of this, that a lot of this is not being reported. It's not being reported by the bank, but it's out there and it's happening, and they don't want to talk about it. But this is undeniable. You can't squeeze another used car on the lot here. So we're being told everything's fine. Nothing to worry about. That, you know, the indicators that we're being shown on a daily basis, unemployment, inflation, the housing numbers, it's all extremely manipulated. And, you know, they try to make it out that it's improving or it's not that bad. But the question is now, how much of this do you believe? Do you believe in the real inflation numbers? Do you believe in these unemployment numbers? Do you believe that people aren't getting their cars repoed, that everybody's making their $900 and $1,000 payments on their Chargers and Challengers, when so many people are not even working, when so many jobs pay low wages or part-time hours, service sector industry? How are people in a service sector type environment going to continue to afford driving a $900 Chrysler? I don't understand this, and we are not being told the truth. We're not being told reality. And this is why so many people are going to lose, and so many people are going to get wiped out, because they continue to put their faith and trust in the television, their faith and trust in these financial institutions that continue to lie to them, the banks who tell you it's not that bad, but then you look behind the scenes, a liquidity crisis taking place. You have the Fed propping everything up to this day, and they keep telling you nothing's going to happen. Don't worry, don't prepare. You need to stop listening to the central banks, and you need to start doing what they're doing. Stop, listening to them and start doing what they are doing. They are stacking huge amounts of gold. They are preparing for a liquidity crisis, and you need to be your own central bank right now, preparing for the same environment. 97% of corporate executives think the U.S. economy is in recession right now, or headed into one. I think that we need to stop listening to these people, because you already know where we're at, and we're heading into something much worse than a recession. We've been in a recession. When you look at Toyota sales down 22%, you see Ford laying off 8,000 people, and you see home builder stocks, the automaker stocks. We are in something much worse than a depression, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen the economy this bad in my entire life. And I think a lot of you would admit that too. You've never seen it this bad, and there's just so much BS out there. How can anybody deny what is happening? And the next shoe to drop is going to be the housing market. It says here on the hedge, there is no pivot. Never forget the first rule of watching a central bank. Yeah, don't do what they say, do what they're doing. And the question we all have to ask ourselves right now is, what if Jerome Powell does not care about the economy? What if he does not care about the stock market? What if he cares about just destroying it all, bringing it all down? And maybe this is how they bring in a new money system, maybe the new digital dollar, the Fed coin, whatever it might be. Maybe this brings in some kind of new money. Maybe this is the plan all along. Maybe I'm out of my mind. Maybe I'm stretching it here. But could we be putting too much faith and trust in the Fed being our friend, and that Jerome Powell and the Fed have our best interest at heart, and that they're going to save the day yet again, even though they've caused this nightmare, they've caused this recession, and it's going to turn into a depression. And for many people right now, it already is a depression. For the home builders, it's a depression. For the automakers, it's a depression. Why do we not ever see the auto plants? Why do we not ever see the news crews at these auto dealers? Do you see how many people are shopping for cars today? Zero. There's nobody out there. U.S. announces a new $800 million Ukraine package. Where is this money coming from? This is unbelievable. We have another $800 million package going to Eastern Europe. This is now going to total $9 billion. Another article I want to finish up with here is Wendy's. Wendy's now pulls lettuce from their sandwiches, from their burgers. 37 people came down with E. coli in 3 states, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. So now fast food, as bad as it is, as unhealthy as it is becoming even more dangerous. So now we have thousands of cattle dying, crops dying. Now you can't even eat lettuce at a Wendy's because you could die. So the fast food industry, as unhealthy and as unsafe as it is, becomes even more dangerous. So this is just unbelievable now that you can't even trust a fast food restaurant, that you might die going there and eating. So this is just, it's unbelievable. Again, all the cattle dying, all the crops dying, 37 million chickens and turkeys euthanized this year alone. People getting sick from eating lettuce on their hamburger at Wendy's. Nobody at the auto lots. It's absolutely incredible. This thing is going to get really bad, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to see an absolute epic collapse of the economy. It's going to be absolutely an historic time, and you must be prepared. So as I wrap it up today, I'm just going to do one more walk by over here just so you can see the lot. It's a very, very quiet Sunday. And for us, it's only going to be about 105 today, so it's cooling down, but we have a lot of humidity, but it's not 115, it's not 120 or 125 like it is many times in August. But take a look. I mean, do you see anybody out there? I'm the only one here. Now, if I jumped on I-10 and went by the RV dealership, you would see the same thing. There would be nobody there, and there are so many RVs piling up. But you know, I filmed that months ago, the RV situation where the inventory was beginning to just pile up again. And now that it costs more to borrow money, as people no longer have all that crypto money, as it's being vaporized, as the stock market continues to stumble, as stagflation continues to erupt, people are not buying RVs, people are not borrowing money like they used to, and if they are, they're borrowing money to pay for essentials, gas in the car, rent, food, etc., things like that. But the RV lots are just as bad as the car lots. It's going to get much, much worse. I find it staggering to think how many cars must be piled up at these auto plants back east for Toyota and Ford and GM without chips. There must be, I don't know, I mean, what are we talking? You know, hundreds of thousands of cars just piled up on the production lots, Broncos and Toyota Camrys and you name it, Sentras. I mean, so many of these cars just piling up. What are they going to do with all of them as they're aging? They're sitting out in the environment, sitting all summer, rotting away without chips, out on these massive hundreds of acre parking lots, just sitting there waiting for a year. And we're going to be in 2023 before you know it, and they don't even have chips for the 2022s. If you work in the auto industry, I mean, these dealerships, how are they affording the overhead and the production plants? How are they affording to stay open? I know, look at Ford, just laid off 8,000 people. We're going to see more layoffs. How could they not? They're not making cars. They don't have the chips. So they're going to have to continue to lay off more people. And the auto industry is no doubt in a depression. And the United States of America is heading right into the same depression as the automakers. Get ready. Have a good weekend, ladies and gentlemen. More products coming in from China right behind me. Big train. That's where all your cheap products come from, right there, right from China, coming in on the train. That's coming in right out of Long Beach. Have a good weekend. God bless.